I'm Monty, the Garden Lady. I'm back again. This is my second week of the garden season, and I'm going to review with you how I go about planning and cost estimating my garden projects. This is a good time of year to do that. It's always good to write down what you want to get done this year, and during the winter months when you have some time and you're not busy gardening, you can write down on paper your goals for the year and plan ahead. So the first method I'm going to tell you about is very simple, anyone can do. I use a calendar, a date planner. This is for 2018. The first thing I do is that in the back, I make a list of all the things I want to do in my garden, sort of a mind dump of everything I want to get done. Then I go back and I put next to it the month that it needs to happen. See, most of the planting and the moving of plants gets done during May. Certain things get done during April. And then what I do is I transcribe them to the notes section in the month of the calendar, such as, this is for May. See, this is the notes section. See, it says May notes, and you'll notice I have all my planting done here. This is to remind me of what I need to get done, and that way I accomplish my goals and I'm happy at the end. Now, the second thing that could be done is something more formal that you can also use when you're cost estimating a job or a project. You can also do this for your personal projects, not necessarily for a business. That way you have a budget for what you want to get done. And this is called a process budget. I learned this from going to farming workshops. This is used a lot to figure out the cost of crops, and you can do the same to figure out the cost of your garden projects. So I made this form in Excel. I looked online for a sample process budget. I guess they don't call it that anymore. This is something I learned maybe 15 years ago. So I'm going to give you an idea of what you do. At the very top, you write in the project that you want to work on. And what you do is there's different steps to each project that need to be done, as in landscaping or redoing your garden. You can also do this for a maintenance budget, such as cutting the lawn, trimming hedges, or doing gardening work like I do. So what you do is you write down the task all by itself in a box. You notice here that I put plant annuals in pots. Okay, it's one thing I'm going to get done this year. As a sample, I said it's going to take me about 2 hours. That includes shopping for the plants and putting them in the containers. Okay, so if I had an employee do this, it would cost me $30 to get this done. It won't cost you anything if you do it by yourself. Then what are you going to need to do this? You need to buy plants and maybe some potting soil, and maybe you need a container. In any event, add up all those costs and put them in the materials cost. So now you have a labor cost and a materials cost, and that's the total cost. Now, if you were running a business and this was a cost estimating thing, you would do the same thing and figure it out, and then you'd have your cost. Then you apply your overhead rate. Okay, you usually have an overhead. You've got insurance, you've got your car, your truck. You can do that also as part of the process budget. If you need to rent equipment, you can write that down as a cost. So you add your overhead, you can put in your overhead rate. I might try to put this form in the description for your use. Then you subtotal it, you add your profit, then you have to calculate sales tax on any materials that that you're going to charge your client. And that's usually the cost times the overhead times the profit times sales tax. And you add that there. So it's just the sales tax. And then you have a grand total. Now, if you were using this at home, the cost of the plants is already going to have sales tax in it. This is if you're a wholesale landscaper and you're developing a cost estimate for a job. So I hope that was helpful. The rest of the week, I've contacted my clients because I'm going away, like I told you in the last video. And so far, all my clients want me back. Sometimes it's not the case. Some people have budgetary constraints and they would rather do the gardening themselves. I've had that happen. It affects how I employ people. I staff my jobs with specific people, the same project with the same staff, so that they know the garden and they continue taking care of that garden according to my instructions. I think that's it. I'm getting ready for my trip. My hyacinth bulbs are on my window and they're beginning to develop flower buds. I hope that you tried to grow hyacinth bulbs and that it worked for you. Thank you and see you next time. Hopefully it'll be a video about Monet's garden. Bye-bye.